Hello, everybody. Yes, we are live. We are live. We are live. It's the Mentor Show. Tonight, we are looking at mapping Africa's natural resources. Yeah, and that's what we are doing tonight. What do you ready for? And we're looking at the nation of Mali. We are focusing on Mali tonight. We have been welcome everyone. Welcome to the Mentor Show. Welcome. Let me just go in for my intro.
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go. Hello, welcome. I'm Dr. Olushola Ajide, your host on the Mentors Show, where we inspire you, help you reinvent yourself, and make a positive impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. We mentor people across Africa. We bring you guests with inspiring life stories who are themselves transformation agents, making a positive change in their profession and nations. Subscribe to the African Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yes, welcome. Welcome to the Mentor Show, brought to you by the Africa Coaching and Mentorship Initiative. I am your host, Dr. Olushola Ajide. Now, on the Mentor Show is where we inspire you. On the Mentor Show is where we help you reinvent yourself. On this show, we bring guests who are transformational agents, whereby you can learn tips of how to be transformational change agents in your community, in your country, and also on your continent where you reside. However, on the days we don't have guests on this show, I do another series, what we call Mapping Africa's Natural Resources. And on these episodes of Mapping Africa's Natural Resources, we look specifically at country by country on the African continent and looking at what are the natural resources that exist in those countries. More than that, we look also at what are the opportunities, or what you could call challenges. I don't call them problems, what we could call challenges, opportunities. In other words, these opportunities are a huge untapped opportunity for wealth creation. Becky, good evening. How are you today? So there are opportunities looking at the various sectors in every country on the continent of Africa. And since I've started this episode, the Mentor Show actually is coming to, interestingly, is coming to its fourth season. is coming to its fourth season because the Mentor Show started on the 15th of April, 15th of May of 2020, and so we'll be coming to the fourth season soon. And we've looked at series of nations. We've considered Algeria, we've looked at Angola, Benin Republic, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Chad. We've looked at Comoros, we've looked at Congo, we've looked at Cote d'Ivoire, we've looked at Democratic Republic of the Congo, we've looked at Djibouti, we've looked at Egypt, we've looked at Equatorial Guinea, we've looked at Eritrea, Ethiopia, Gabon, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, we've looked at Kenya, we've looked at Lesotho, Liberia, Libya, Madagascar. And the last one we looked at, the nation 30 on that list, is Malawi. And today, is the turn of Mali. Mali, we're looking at Mali today. We're looking at Mali today. Good. It's just... So we'll be looking at Mali today. Extreme. Happy New Year, Becky. Happy New Year. Extreme, this nation. And for those of you on Facebook, please do follow us. Those of you on LinkedIn, do follow us and leave the comments. Tell us where you are watching us from. Those of you on YouTube, also tell us where you are joining us from on the Mentor Show. And of course, those of you on Instagram, tell us where you are joining us from today. So we're looking at Mali, the nation of Mali. And you know, this nation has been in the news of late, isn't it? It will be part of the things that we'll be looking at today. We'll be looking at why the nation has been in the news. We'll touch briefly on that today. Don't mind me. I was trying to, it didn't occur to me before, but I felt so, good evening, Chidima. Sorry, Chijoke, Chinedu. Good evening. So, we are on the Mentor Show tonight. Just sort of playing a little. How are you, Aliyah? You're back. So, we'll be looking at Mali, a nation on the continent of Africa. Yeah, that's just a Mali music. Yeah, that's how Mali music sound. That's how Mali music sound. So Mali is a country in West Africa. And this particular nation, Mali, is has a population of 21.9 million. Quite a good number. Now, Mali is bordered as a nation geographically in the north by Algeria, in the east by Niger, in the south by Burkina Faso, in the east by Mauritania, and of course Guinea also is bordering this nation. And this particular nation, Mali, the flag you see in the flyer which was made is 3 columns of green, yellow, and of course red. And this particular nation, Mali, were previously, that's the right word, they were previously colonized by France. They were colonized by France as far back as 1877, quite a long time. They were colonized by France from 1877, and in 1960 they got their independence. But of course, for any nation that has been colonized by any other nation, the life, the culture, and the things being done will be infused by life in the nation that were the colonial masters, if you like to use that terminology. Now, this particular nation, Mali, of course, I've mentioned that it is landlocked. It's about 1,241,238 square kilometers, and the sovereign state of Mali consists of 19 regions. Its borders on the north reach deep into the middle of the Sahara Desert. The country southern part is in the Sudanian savannah. Good evening, Ayodeji. Olowokere, good evening. And this nation, the capital of Mali is Bamako. There are, interestingly, the official language of Mali has just been changed recently. Just been changed from French to all the constituents: Bambara, Bobo, Bozo, Dogon, Fula, Asania, Kasonke, Maninke, Meyanka, Senulo, Songe, Soninke, Tamashek. Now, the official language in the nation is now the 13, and no more just one, which was the French language. So, French used to be the working language. And of course, the language spoken are all those mentioned: Bambara, Dogon, Bobo, French, Fula, Asania, which is Arabic, Kasonke, Maninke, Miyanka, Semolo, Songe, Soninke, Tamashek, Mandinka, Maori, Dafin, Samogo, and Hausa. These are all, so you could see quite a complex or mix of various languages that are spoken in this particular nation. And what's the ethnic groupings, the percentages? So for the most popular or the most populous nation among these groups are the Bambara, 33.3%. The Fula is 13.3%. The Soninke, is 9.6%. The Senulo, the Bois, is 9.6%. The Malinke is 8.8%. The Dogon is 8.7%. The Songhai is 5.9%. The Tuareg is 3.5%. The Bobo is 2.1%, while others are classified as 4.5%. Of course, the religion in this nation is 95% Islam and 5% Christianity. So they have a unitary presidential republic and under a military junta. You see, there's an interim president, Assimi Goita, is the current the interim, and also Chogwel Kokalia Maiga is the interim prime minister. So the formation of the legislature was in 1958, just before they got their independence, and that's how the nation is run. The GDP of this nation is $61,625 billion. The per capita is $2,639. So when you talk about the issue of the currency being used in Mali, the currency is West African franc, CFA. That's what's being used here in Mali. And the dialing code is plus 223, plus 223. Alright. So now this particular nation is one of the old, they call them old Malian Empire. The old Malian Empire that spans covering the Songhai Empire, that big and hegemonic empire in 1591 up till what we have today. Before the colonization by the French, of course. So, because don't forget, this is mapping Africa's natural resources. What are the natural resources that Mali has? And I keep saying, why I bring this up is because that's what we're looking at. It's understanding the natural resources that Africa has and looking at the opportunity for exploitation of these materials, and they're putting these materials to work for the benefit of people on the continent of Africa. So let's look quickly now at the natural resources. What are these natural resources that this country is being bestowed? Quite a lot of opportunities. So the Mali has, the Ministry of Mines estimate that 800 tons of gold deposits are in this country, Mali. In fact, this nation is number 15 when it comes to gold deposits in the world. 2 million tons of iron ore, 5,000 tons of uranium, 20 million tons of manganese, 4 million tons of lithium, and 10 million tons of limestone. Mali is on track to start lithium production by 2020. This was with 494,000 of exploratory reserves are already discovered in the nation. And this is part of the reason why we keep looking at these nations, African nations, one by one, and looking at the opportunities that this nation holds. You would agree with me that with such an amount, if for a nation to be number 15 in the world when it comes to gold production and deposits, it shouldn't be poor. But surprise, surprise, that is how it is. And that is why we keep coming on this show, talking about these issues, because there's a need for new, genuine hearts, passionate for development people for the continent of Africa in every nation. Right from all these 30 nations we've already considered before, today is 31. There's need for people who are passionately concerned about development, not for their own personal gain. And like I keep saying on this show, why were you born? You were born to solve a problem. Have you discovered the problem you were born to solve? Perhaps some people that were born to solve the problem in Mali are tied up in other places and looking at other opportunities. So you also, that you are watching live or you're watching the replay of it, why were you born? Have you discovered the purpose of your existence? Because if you don't discover why you were born, you will not be living, you will only be surviving. And it's important for you to know the reason why you're on earth, so that you can begin to exert yourself in that direction of the reason for your existence. So you can begin to, if you permit me to use that word, you can begin to live. You can begin to live. Now, gold, like I mentioned, is the highest in the resources of this nation and is the fourth largest gold producer in Africa after Ghana, South Africa, and Sudan. Gold is by far Mali's most important export, comprising about 61% of total exports and 21% of government revenue as at far back as 2018. So the price of gold, of course, fluctuates with the world market prices. But whichever way, whichever way, the natural deposits in any of this nation should translate to the life of the people in that country. Should translate. It should translate so that people can benefit from what is in their land. And this reminds me of my PhD thesis looking at the Niger Delta. Why there is acrimony in the Niger Delta when people are seeing that resources, natural resources, is being gotten from the land, in quotes, where their ancestors have been, and they can see that same resource being used to develop, being used to bring advancements in other parts of the country where they are all citizens. People tend to flip. they tend to talk about why is this injustice, so to speak. They feel it's an injustice. For example, I remember that the one of the communities that I used for my data collection in my PhD thesis, there is natural gas in that community, oil. So before you can get oil, you need to excavate the natural gas, and they were actually burning some of those natural gases. In fact, in that particular community, one of the oil companies have an energy production in that area, and they generate electricity. And I'm sorry that I'm digressing, but I'm going. You understand what I'm talking about. I know I'm talking about Mali, but I just want to give about this little aspect of what my data in my PhD program, my data collection, just to show you the similarity. Why people who own a community or own an area, who live in that area, they don't seemingly get. They feel that they're disenfranchised. They don't get the benefit of what is in their homeland. That community does not have stable electricity power. I'm talking about my data collection in my Niger Delta, this community. Whereas the gas and everything gotten from that community, that is being piped and connected to the national, what we call Aso Rock. You see, it's connected to Aso. In other words, they generate electricity there, and that electricity powers the seat of government in Nigeria. So there's seemingly 24 hours uninterruptible electricity. However, the community where that source is coming from does not have stable electricity. Why wouldn't people agitate? You see, these are part of the things. When they feel that they are not being catered for. When they feel they're not being catered for. And so the point I'm making is, for this country, Mali, which you are looking at today, Mali that we are considering today, it has abundance of gold. But when it comes to human development, when it comes to the scale of human development in this nation of Mali, it's nothing to write home about. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. It is estimated that the literacy rate of Malians is, for male, is with 5.2423%, and for female is 46.16% as of 2020. And don't forget, because the country also is largely Muslim, Islamic, so Arabic is a critical thing that they want to learn, in the country. So the literacy of this country is quite UNESCO actually put the literacy rate of this country to 30.76%, which is poor, considering the wealth coming from the nation. Oh, it is quite. And also, this Mali also trades in not only gold. Mali also trades in salt. They have a good amount of salt being produced in this nation. Mm. There's been a lot of war, a lot of terrorism activities in Mali, which has led to a lot of fightings, killings, a lot of people. Welcome to the Mentor Show. We're looking at mapping Africa's natural resources. We are focusing on Mali today. So, two-thirds of the country's territory still outside the state's control, despite the intervention of international communities since 2013. So, you see Islamic State, ISIL, and all those things controlling those huge and large parts of the northern part of the country, Mali. So this is part of the thing we are saying, that there's a need for young Africans to rise, because someone, I believe, is born to solve all the problems on the continent of Africa. Let's quickly look at that. So you could have mentioned the fact that there's quite a lot of war going on, internal wrangling, internal fighting. More so, you will know that wherever there's natural resources, there's always fighting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So who is fueling these wars? At the expense of the people of the country. So the nation of Mali is already figures among the poorest country in the world according to the UN Human Development Index, whereas it's 15th producer of gold. 64% of his exports is gold. What a paradox, isn't it? Yeah, that's the challenge, and that's the bane of Africa, and that's the reason why we will continue to advance that young people in Africa needs to discover the purpose why they were born and begin to do something about that, to bring about change and development through innovation. Let's look at education in Mali. The way it is structured, they have the primary education and the secondary 6 years, lower secondary education, and of the higher one, which is 7 years, okay. So there's people, yeah, or there are people who continue to strive for positive change in this nation. So when it comes to the education in the country, now with the change in official language now to all, it will be a setback because previously you have just one language. I see why they've done that. But it will be a setback because literary wise, some will not be able to communicate again. The more the year goes on, people will not be able to communicate again because now they only know their language. But when they had one language, which was French, they can transverse any culture and still communicate. Does that make sense? So, in life, it's always two sides of the coin. There's always up or head or tail. And you cannot have head and tail at the same time. There's always a give and take, as it were, to these issues. Now, if you consider in Mali, for example, the health sector, Mali's health sector is one of the poorest nations. As a poor nation, the health sector is poor, greatly affected by poverty, malnutrition, epidemics, inadequate hygiene, and sanitation. So Mali's health and development indicators rank among the worst in the world, with little improvement over the last 20 years, despite the huge amount of resources. Can you see the paradox we're talking here? Whereas these materials have been exported, have been taken away, so where is the money going? These are part of the challenge. So when it comes to hospitals, medical facilities in Mali are very limited, especially outside of Bamako, and medicines are in short supply. So do you agree with me that with huge amounts of abundance of resources, it shouldn't be the case? And this is not, if you are not from Mali, whatever nation you come from, this more like a resounding decimal, isn't it? And that is it. Whatever nation you come from, you arise and say, what can I do to improve my nation? And I believe sincerely, coming online, the Mentor Show is a platform that is formed to be able to tackle ignorance and to awaken the youth of Africa to their responsibility. The responsibility of a new Africa, of a rebirth of the continent as a whole. So it's quite. So there are 3 major public hospitals in Bamako. However, Mali still lacks a greater number of physicians, as there are only 0.08 physicians per 10,000. 0.08 physicians per 10,000 citizens. In 2009, there were only 729 physicians in the entire country of more than 10 million. That is as at 2009. So what's the rate now? Let me stop, because it's not talking about just looking at the negatives. I don't want you to see the negatives. There are young people that but the purpose is to go study medicine, to bring about change, to do research, and to bring about transformation. There are young people in the country that their purpose is to do innovation and to do research and to come about with, because normally with the type of land, Sahara Desert and all those things, you need young people to do research. How are you clever, Henry? To do research that will talk about agricultural products that will be able to withstand droughts, because there's a lot of droughts also in the. We'll go now look at the agricultural sector in Mali, which you see buttresses the point I'm making. So agricultural activities in Mali represent around 33% of the GDP, and they employ nearly 80% of the Malians. Mali has important and underexploited agricultural potential, which is the point I'm making, especially in the south and central regions. A state-owned enterprise, the Office du Niger, manages around 127,000 hectares of organized agricultural land, primarily through governing land transactions and water management. So the point we're saying here is that Mali also have other products, like we mentioned, food import. They do import food, and they do have cotton also. So you can imagine so you can imagine and we said it, in every nation, when it comes to agriculture, we are still practicing subsistence agriculture, not mechanized agriculture, the use of tractor to mass produce this food considering the population of people. So there's need for people to develop, to build tractors, for example. Like a guy that has been on this show building tractors in Nigeria, in Plateau State, building cars, to develop new products that will help make agriculture quite profitable and impactful of the nation and across the nation of Mali. So when it comes to, like we've seen, the health sector is a problem. Now the agricultural sector also is a problem. The economy, whereas despite 65% of the export being gold, gold, one of the most precious minerals on earth, and the same nation is one of the poorest nations on earth. How do you solve that paradox? So it calls for introspection. If you are a Malian from Mali, is to know that there is a need for introspection. And don't forget, one of the challenges in the nation of Mali is the separatists, the Tuareg separatist rebels in Mali who are fighting. Some people are providing the ammunition to these people that are fighting. In other words, some people are benefiting for the destruction of lives and the challenges and everything going in there. And I believe somebody also is born to bring peace to Mali, to ensure that all these things do not work again. All this acrimony, fighting between Islamic states and the rebels and all those things, which is common in the northern part of Mali. So I do believe, sincerely, I do believe that coming on the Mentor Show and on these days when we talk about mapping Africa's natural resources, I believe it's not just a talk shop where I just talk and rant. No. are coming to create awareness, at least for you today. If you are watching live or you are going to, you're watching this, you now know more about Mali. I remember a young chap I met here many years, some years ago when we were looking at, I think that was the third, when we look at this, the third nation, Benin Republic, that they are selling their children $15. They sell in Benin Republic, they sell their children $15 because of poverty. Now you know. And now you can now also get a burden for your own nation and see what change can be brought to your nation of your birth, because you were born to solve your problem. You were born to solve your problem. Have you discovered the problem you were born to solve? And have you begun to apply yourself to that place, to that issue? All right, I think I would want to stop here tonight. We've looked at Mali. Welcome. Follow us. Next week, Tuesday, we'll come your way again with another guest on the Mentors Show. Our guests are trailblazers. They are people who are making change in their community. And we've been privileged on the Mentors Show to have people who are, the first person who was our guest was Coach Frank Edwards. We've had Dr. Larry Olushola being our guest on this show. We've had MC Abe on the guest on this show. We've had Chigirl, how do you pronounce that? Chigirl being a guest on this show. We've had, wonderful people on this show who have been guests, who are doing great and mighty things. But the point is, you are also born to do something. Step to the plate and do it. Begin to do what God has created you to do. That's me tonight on the Mentor Show. I'll come your way again next week, Tuesday, by the grace of God. Stay blessed and enjoy the rest of your evening wherever you are. And if it is night where you are, enjoy the rest of your night, and see you again next week Tuesday. Bye for now. Bye.